Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another episode of the strategy series. Today, we're going over how to beat Beerus. For this format, we've done Starter Baby and we've done Android 21. Beerus is another really popular deck in the format right now. It seems to just be like red, yellow, good stuff. And it seems to be the more generic version than Baby is, because Baby is also red, yellow. But this kind of just plays all the red, yellow, good stuff. So we're talking about today how to counter it. There are a few ways and a few things you want to watch out for when going up against Beerus. We're talking about that today. Guys, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. If you want to buy any of the cards we talk about in today's video, make sure you use my link down below to either TCG Player or Beer Collectibles. And finally, guys, we want to see you at the Daily Mac Tournament of Power. It's going to be the biggest tournament of the year, and this is a big move for Dragon Ball Super. We want to see you there. I want to see you there. Check that out in the description below. And finally, guys, if you have any other suggestions for what you want to see in the strategy series, whether it's a deck to counter or a methodology of play, let me know that in the comments below as well. With that being said, we'll get into this. So Beerus, it's important to know what the leader does and what the deck does in order to know how to counter it. So on the unawakened side, typical 10k attack. Once per turn, you can either discard a red or yellow card from your hand and draw 2. So this leader draws a ton. There are other cards in the deck as well sometimes that draw. Sometimes people play the Roshi Shen combo. Fun fact, guys, a lot of people misplay this. If you see your opponent play the Roshi Shen combo, you need to clear those things from the board unless you have a clear shot for game, because over time, those cards will draw your opponent more and more cards. They might seem like regular cantrips at first, but guys, make sure you clear those Roshi Shens if your opponent is dropping them in their build of Beerus. So when he awakens at 4 or less, you untap 2, and sometimes they wait to awaken at 2 life so they can drop the Grade 8 Pan Whisperer, but a little bit more on that later. On the backside, the leader does not draw anymore, hence why some people play Roshi Shen. Activate main, once per turn, you pay a red and a yellow, and you can KO any of your opponent's battle cards. So built-in removal to the leader. Activate battle, once per turn, choose a red-yellow multicolor card in your drop area and combo with it. So this leader makes up for not drawing by getting a free 10k combo on both players' turns once per turn. So attacking, they get a free 10k combo. This also allows them to arrival without comboing cards from hand, so it saves them a little bit of hand size, hand presence. And on defense, they get the free 10k. Again, they can arrival, but they can also just chump block attacks. You know, if you swing at the leader with a 20k double strike, let's say you don't combo, they literally just block it for free, for no investment. And that's really, really good for Beerus. So getting into a bit more of the strategy, I want you guys to know that very, very soon the expansion for red, yellow, and green, blue are coming out. So this is going to be a new card you're going to have to be aware of as far as Beerus is concerned. Sorry, the image isn't very clear. It's hard to find clear images of the cards before they actually come out. So I'll explain what it does. Almighty Resistance is a red, yellow extra card, costs a red and a yellow energy. It has energy exhaust. It is counter. If your leader card is red, which Beerus is, and you choose a yellow card in your hand and place it in the drop area, negate the counter attack skill. So Beerus can now negate negates like Topo, Dimension Magic, whatever negate you are thinking of. Beerus has the ability to stop it. Will all decks play it? I don't know. I don't necessarily think Beerus is the best leader to abuse like Mira, Champa, Battering Laser, because Beerus doesn't really play Champa, and they already don't play Mira. Those are 2 more 10k combos in a red-yellow deck that's already a little bit clunky on 10k combos. So some builds may play it, some builds may not, but it's a card you have to be aware of, because if your deck is reliant on Topo, if your deck's reliant on Nimbus, let's just say, well, now Beerus has a card that shuts down negates, so you need to be well aware of that. You can't really interact with this card unless you have, like, unless you're yellow and you have the Swift Retaliation Cooler. I believe that's the only way you can currently interact with this card, so just be very mindful of that come a few weeks from now, I think January 17th. Topo Righteous Aid. This is one of the mainstay staples. You will see this card played at 4 in Beerus. If you don't know what Topo does by now, really quickly, it's a counter attack. Drops its cost to 2 on the opponent's turn. You discard a card, you play this, you stop an attack, and then if your opponent wants to attack the rest of the turn, they got to pitch 2 cards. Most red decks are playing this, but Beerus is a very slow roll, kind of mid-range control red deck. So they're going to most likely be playing Topo at 4. They're going to want to stall the opponent out, gets those later turns, drop some bombs, put some pressure on the board. Kind of a lot of times too, Beerus wins one of 2 ways. Either they let the opponent wear themselves out by self-awakening and trying to deal damage, playing very high value defense, and then Beerus wins on the clapback. Otherwise, they have some secret rares at their disposal, and besides that, they also have Heartfelt Plea shenanigans with Pan the Great Ape Whisperer. So stalling, as far as this goes, Topo is their main way. Some builds will also play Nimbus, but Topo is the main guy. How are we countering Topo? Well, you have a few options. One, you can play Almighty Resistance like I just talked about if your leader is red. That's going to stop the entirety of Topo, but most decks don't have access to that because not all leaders are red. So some leaders, you'll have Denial of Hope, you'll have Absolute Release Ball, you'll have Focus Breakthrough if you're green, you'll have Preemptive Strike if you're green. Basically, all the counterplay cards. Now, really important to note with the counterplay cards, counterplay is not counter. So when you Denial of Hope a Topo, let's say, or if you Absolute Release Ball it, you're not actually stopping the negate portion of the Topo. The negate will still go through, but when you do use these cards, you're going to stop Topo's auto from lingering for the rest of the turn. So whatever attack you swing with will be stopped, but you don't have to deal with the pitch 2 on every subsequent attack. This is really important because typically a red deck is going to Topo you on the first swing, so you can actually play this pretty smartly. You can swing with one of your least threatening cards, maybe it's your leader, maybe it's a dinky 15k attacker, and then you're expecting the Topo. They should Topo you in that first attack to get max value out of the Topo. And then when you drop Absolute Release Ball or Denial of Hope or whatever counterplay is at your disposal, you have your other threatening attackers, your more threatening attackers, still able to attack not under Topo. So that's going to be one of the main things you want to look for. Otherwise, again, the only other battering laser kind of effect in the game is Swift Retaliation Cooler. It is pretty costly though. Not a lot of yellow decks play it unless you're yellow Broly, so keep that in mind as well. But Swift Retaliation Cooler and Almighty Resistance are the only two cards at the moment that are going to completely stop the entire effect of Topo, and those are the only two cards that will stop a card like Nimbus. Not all Beerus builds play Nimbus, some of them do to counteract Yellow Baby, but unfortunately these cards won't interact with Nimbus. But at least against Nimbus, you get a few more attacks than you get with Topo if you let it go uninterrupted. Next up, Beerus No Holds Barred. I just got done talking about to you guys how the leader gets a free 10k combo on the backside. It's a red-yellow combo, so they get to drop Beerus No Holds Barred. It basically becomes a 2-drop for them during battle. It almost is like a Bardock Raiders Warcry in the sense that it doesn't cost them any extra cards from hand. They just attack, use the leader ability, combo from the drop area, and they drop Beerus No Holds Barred for 2 energy. This card is a powerhouse. Auto, when you play it, you can choose one of the following effects. You can either KO a battle card with 30,000 or less power, or you can choose your opponent's leader or a battle card, ignoring barrier, and lock it down. It can't restand until the start of your next main phase. So this card really is the cornerstone of the Beerus deck in a lot of ways. One, this is again how they're going to interrupt your battles. If you're attacking with anything 30k or less, it is not safe unless it has barrier. They can easily play this and pop it. If you're attacking with an Apocalypse Grudge Grade A Baby, as big as Baby is, it is susceptible to Beerus No Holds Barred. Another thing too, Beerus is a red leader. It means it has access to Afterimage technique. So that will minus 10 something. So even secret rares aren't always safe against Beerus. If they don't Afterimage you, sure, it's safe. You can swing with it. They can't pop it with No Holds Barred. But if you swing with like a Demigra, or if you swing with a Victory Strike and they Afterimage it, don't dump your whole hand into it because they can easily No Holds Barred it and pop it because it'll be at that minus 10k. It'll be 30k. Now keep in mind, guys, always be aware of how much energy Beerus has open. If they have 3 energy, they can do the Afterimage No Holds Barred thing. They can also do it with Sparking. If they have 2 energy open, Sparking Afterimage, 2 energy for the Beerus. But if they only have 1 energy, that means they cannot possibly Beerus you. There is no way for them during combos, except for Awakening, to get energy back during a combo. So keep that in mind. Also, this card is a cornerstone for their Heartfelt Plea shenanigans. They're not Yellow Baby. They don't have a Apocalypse Grudge Grade A Baby at their disposal, but this is their 25k red card. So if they're going for the kill on any given turn, they can Awaken, preferably at 2 life if they're going for the whole combo. They're going to sack off Beerus No Holds Barred. They're going to drop Heartfelt Plea. They're going to drop the Pan and swing at you with 2 triple strikes. So at all costs, guys, if they aren't awakened yet, you really want to prioritize getting this guy off the board. That's going to be really, really important to consider going forward. Next up, one of the main win conditions in the Beerus deck is Frieza Army Reborn. Now, they don't typically play Baby Janemba. Some of them may or may not, but they typically won't because in Beerus specifically, Frieza Army Reborn is a lot better for a few reasons I'll talk about. But real quickly, this card is Quadruple Strike, does not have Deflect, which is very important to realize. And when your life is 2 or less, it becomes a 5-drop. When you play it, you kill a card in their hand and you kill their entire board 40k or less. Basically, nothing survives this unless it has Indestructible. So, ways to counter it. Well, the nice thing about Beerus is it is usually a slow, grindy matchup. They're typically not killing you very, very fast. So, you have time to play kind of slower cards that in other matchups wouldn't be too great. Now, the way they control their life to play the Frieza SCR or to do the Heartfelt Plea combo is Whis Godly Fundamentals. They just warp it from the drop area, take a life, very easily done. King Yama Soul Supervisor can help answer that problem. You can play this, you can remove any copies of Whis from their drop area, put them to the bottom of their deck. This card also serves a dual purpose against Beerus because you can play it And you can also remove any red-yellow cards in their drop area so that they don't have a backside leader effect. Now, if they've discarded several red-yellow cards over the course of the game, then that could be a little bit problematic. But a lot of Beerus builds play Overwhelm, so they may be a little bit scarce with red-yellow cards in the drop area. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's also a yellow equivalent to King Yemma. So if you're playing any type of blue or any type of yellow, there's also a Krillin that does the same exact thing as King Yemma. So you can keep that in mind. Next up, guys, the Frieza is also susceptible to all of these counterplays. Again, it does not have Deflect, so you have Crusher Ball at your disposal. You have Mutaito at your disposal because it will be an 8-drop as it's played. So you can Mutaito it. Once it's played, it becomes an 8-drop again, and then you can tap it down with Mutaito. You also have access to Chomp of the Trickster if you're playing multicolor with yellow. And you also have Ultra Instinct Son Goku the Unstoppable to bounce it back to the hand before it triggers its effect. They cannot snipe the Ultra Instinct out of your hand before you get a chance to counterplay with it. So all these things are very important. And Crusher Ball, I talked about it in a video recently. Crusher Ball is really good right now. As much as it's not been great in other formats, you know, and especially in Gogeta 7 dominant formats, this card has not been too great because it doesn't hit Deflect. But luckily, a lot of boss monsters right now, they don't have Deflect. That's really good. Another good card against Beerus, guys, is Gogeta 7. Beerus is a deck in a lot of cases that just amasses a huge hand size. So Gogeta 7, if your deck can play it, if your deck can sideboard it, it's another really good card you're going to want to throw in there. Likewise, I also think Fu Shrouded in Mystery, and I also think that Fu the Dark Vanisher are good choices to go up against Beerus. Beerus, again, like I said before, really grindy. You'll often go into a late game against them. 6 energy is not very hard to get to, at least if you're playing another mid-range deck. Sometimes if you're playing aggro, it might end before that. But if you're playing another mid-range control deck, I think Fu Shrouded is really good. They can only hope to Mutaito or Chomp the Trickster it, and then in any case, all their abilities are still going to be negated. So if you have a wide board already, they're pretty much going to be forced to eat a ton of damage. So, guys, those are my tips and tricks for beating Beerus. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any other tips and tricks, anything else helpful. Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.